just over 10 kilometres from home. I'm hoping we get a 10k to go banner as well, which will give us some affirmation that the ticker is in the right place. There's somebody who's more concerned about themselves than the peloton. They are absolutely locked together at the moment. You better have made your move to be with your teammates before now, Brian, because there's no room.
Yeah, this started happening with about 20 kilometres to go or more. It's one of these cases where if you want to try and move up, you're going to have to risk it on the kind of gravel at the side, right at the side of the road, and you don't really want to do that. You risk puncture or crashing or anything. So it's prime space at the front, and this is the effort a lot of the riders have to make. You can see the Green Project Bardiani riders towards the front. If you can remember, yesterday Carlton made one of the riders trying to kind of hold off the peloton. Very difficult to do, but they're the sort of riders that will be thinking of getting good position onto the circuit. Normally when you enter these circuits, it gets rather narrow, so there will be a pinch point as we enter the circuit.
I'm just looking at the nearest side to the road that we're looking at here, and Bora just desperate to get through. Just got balked a moment ago, just trying to get Sam Bennett up into a decent place as we speak. Fractured are Ineos Grenadiers. They're on both sides of the road, as you can see, which is not ideal unless Viviani's going to start cruising and following other wheels. I'm not quite sure, but Narvaez is out of position at the moment, and he should be a part of his lead-out train. 9 kilometres to go, so 4 until we get to the circuit and really start going hell for leather. I still think everyone's holding something back at the moment. They're sort of gently trying to rearrange their positions within the pack, and some are having to go off-road and getting into the dirt at the side of the road. It's when you come back on, it's unfinished at the side, as we're sort of got a little bit of fracturing, broken road surface really at the edges, because there's no paving to sort of hold it in, and as a result you kind of get onto a little bit of gravel, and when you come back in there's the danger of a pinch puncture, and that would be an absolute disaster at a moment such as this. Are you in a good position? That's the question, and from this sort of distance hard to tell, but I can tell you that one thing is certain, and that is that Bora are on the left-hand side as we look at it, right-hand side of the road for the driver's viewpoint, the rider's viewpoint. 8.3 kilometres from home. Some big statements have already been made, at least to get into a decent position, and instinctively Peter Sagan has worked his way rather nicely. I don't think that the day's going to go his way. It would have to have been a bit more testy before we got to this point for that to happen. 8.1 to go. We're just about dealt with our climb, Brian. We've come out of the trees, so not much really left of it. It does dip down a little bit within the circuit before it picks up, but not much that you will notice, I don't think. DSM starting to make some big moves as well, just getting themselves on the far right-hand side of your screen as you look at it. And in a happier place, I think, there is Sagan. It's kind of mob-handed, really. And somebody just decided to spray everybody, which is just not advisable on a day such as this, where, especially at a position such as this, where spits and spots of moisture upon your spectacles are not what you want when you want to maintain your focus. Pace is picked up again, Brian, and we're seeing Trek Segafredo moving into position for Aberystwyth in the red.
Yeah, they're in the red, just on the right-hand side. Next to them is Soudal Quick Step, and it's just a kind of holding pattern for the moment. You can see it's very open. It still continues to drag up towards the motor racing circuit. Long, straight drag. And like we were saying just a moment ago, if you're not in position, there's no place to go. It's completely mobbed across the road.
It certainly is. In fact, the peloton, bizarrely, is wider than it is long at the moment, because they're absolutely mobbing all positions that they can get into. Kazakhstan, Astana Kazakhstan are getting themselves sorted out, with Yevgeny Gidic lead out for Geleb Zritza. He'd have to produce a miracle, I think, today, but then again, he's done it in the past. Tailwind, as you can see, but once we get to the circuit, and it really is blowing as we come up onto this minor plateau, Brian.
Yeah, I can remember a couple of years ago it was a bit more of a kind of head crosswind, which was causing a little bit of difficulty, but if this wind is blowing now, it'll be blowing across the race circuit. Okay, it's only short, but down the back straight, it should be a tailwind. Looking at the map and the way that the wind direction is going at the moment, so it could be quite interesting. But this is just a holding pattern. Nobody wants to commit purely because they know it's going to be very difficult coming onto this race circuit. And as I said again, it does get a little bit narrow in the entrance to the circuit.
Looking at the map of the circuit I have in front of me, there's virtually no tailwind. Most of it is crosswind, headwind. It's bizarre. It's kind of all of the curves and everything. The main straights are sort of stretched out east to west with some linkage. So it's a southerly that's blowing today. Let's see how it pans out. 6.1. We're nearly making the turn. This is going to be absolutely fascinating. The circuit is up there ahead of us. You can just start to see some of the tribunes, sort of flat angled seating arrangements, and this is where we're just going to enter into what is a little kind of engineering business park nearby. We're going to take this turn and then we will be enjoying the racing. Goodness me. Let's watch those motorcycles as well to see they're our guide really as to where the turn is coming. Oh, shoulders, elbows, a little bit of wobbling going on. It's started to thin it out just a little bit. Shows you the dangers. Handing over a little bit of pace here. Some have been knocked back by it. Nobody hit the deck, Brian, but it was sketchy.
Yeah, it's always sketchy towards the back because everybody's just sitting at the front, and that's that kind of concertina effect. But everybody wants to be in position to hit this circuit, which is coming up imminently.
Well, Brian got it bang on. No action just yet. They're going to leave it until the circuit. I think the wisdom of that is questionable, to say the very least. It's sort of a gentle curve that will take us to the circuit. We've missed the main entrance that the trucks would go in. You can see everything lined up on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, here is the entrance to the circuit. So they will take a right-hander on a link road that will bring us in. Get yourselves ready. 4.8 kilometres to go. We're not there just yet. Here it is. And we got ourselves a flyer. Yeah, exactly. But from which team? I think it may well be from the Eurocometa
yes.
that's shot off. Can't see who it is, but if I had to guess, I'd say Giovanni Lonardi has decided that he's had enough of this and he's going to go and try and do a Stibar. Brian, can he possibly get there?
Yeah, it's a bit too far out. Still just over 4 kilometres to go, but took his opportunity and has gone for it. But I think this will stir the peloton into action now, and I think this is the time where we'll see the Soudal Quick Step team come to the fore.
Well, he's a solo. We need to see what's going on behind him, to be honest. Joining the circuit now, you can see the billing of the cordon here. That tells you that the wind is most certainly blowing. And meanwhile, we've had a crash, and a big one as well, towards the back. Had to happen. Just not enough real estate to play with. But the question is, who's been caught out? And I can tell you that a few have been out there. Not a nice scenario at all to see. So this man, it may have played into his hands. As soon as you start to hear the clatter of what has just occurred, then you get yourself a free hand and you can dig in for a little bit of glory. Here they come. Now onto the circuit they are right now. Broader than perhaps I'd described it earlier on, but he's hitting all of the apexes. This could well be a fantastic steal. That's a camera bike behind him at the moment. Just looking at him. Well, 3 hours and 45 in the saddle, and that looks like it's been a wise move, Brian.
Yeah, he went for him just coming onto the circuit, which is a good move to go, but I think he'll be swept up by the peloton because, they are starting to dial in here, and a rider on his own, very difficult. You have to be probably Filippo Ganna to get hold off the peloton. He got a good enough gap, but he'll be brought back, and as he starts to tie up in the final kilometres here.
Well, it's a snaky road that takes you to the back straight, and here is that back straight just being revealed to you right now. You can see the camera bikes being called out. Thank goodness for that. I have no idea what that motorcycle was doing hanging around at a moment such as this, but he has gone. This is the back straight at the bottom of it, and it's hell for leather this, and it's a crosswind that they're dealing with. He's still got a decent margin, but is going to get tagged, and there is a lot more room than I'd perhaps suspected on this racetrack to deal with, and it is Bavila Kuka, who is out front. Thank you, Brian. Meanwhile, the flaring of the low sun is in the eyes of the riders. Look how long the shadows are. And he's cast a long shadow over everybody, but he's going to get caught here. So they stream down to the bottom of the circuit here. He drifts over to the left-hand side. It's the right-hand side of the road, which is the prime real estate. And it's Trek Segafredo with Arabastori, who believe that they've still got something here. Likewise, Bora Hansgrohe are still in the frame, and Soudal Quickstep are still marking time just for the time being. And it's a proper grind. There's Peter Sagan in wheel 4 at the moment. The wind is hampering them. Here's that double phaser at 2Ks to go. The first left-hander and then a second. They're separated by about 90 metres, something of that margin, as they'll come round. This is about the 2 kilometres to go marker. The wind really is blowing, Brian, and it's reflected in the pace. It's a proper stamp on the pedals at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to hamper them a little bit, bunching up. Nobody wants to kind of take it on. Sagan is sitting second wheel, too far from the front. This will give riders the opportunity to move up, and that's what we're seeing at the front. Maybe another opportunity to move.
Arabastori wants to think about it, but he's going to leave it to his teammates to guide him properly into position. Ineos Grenadiers are in a nice spot at the moment. Can't quite... Oh, a little bit of a jink and dive out of the corner here as well. It's sketchy stuff because of the wind that's still blowing, and nobody really wants to impose themselves. Brian, you're absolutely crystal clear and absolutely right. It's going to come down to that final turn, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, looking like it, in the world champion over towards the left-hand side. So the team of Soudal Quickstep have got numbers. Evenepoel is going to make the difference. He made it yesterday, and it looks as if he's going to do it today as well. Sam
Bennett is in a fantastic position. He's wearing the leader's whitish accented jersey. He's just lost his lead-out man, however. He's starting to drive it right now. He's next to the European champion, which, of course, is Fabio Jakobsen as well. They're using all parts of this circuit. They're trying to trim it. They're on the old apron of it. Sam Bennett needs to refine himself. He's lost his teammates just for the time being, but it's just starting to get back in. That's Evenepoel that's doing the guiding. Bumps, grinding all over the place. We said there'd be plenty of elbows, and so it's turned out to be. Here we go. It's the last roll of the dice. Pick this one up, Brian.
Yeah, it's Trek Segafredo going for it now. So it's all hands to the pump now. Still a long way to go. We do this left-hand sweep into the final straight, which is about 300 metres long.
Just trying to see who this is. I think it's possibly Vacek that's having a dig here. No, it's Quinn Simmons. Well, we said that Quinn Simmons could be one of those riders that would have a dig. Simmons has invested big time, and there's a huge chase going on right now. Can he possibly hold on? He drives it into the hoarded section here, and it could be a fantastic win. History repeating itself, you might say. It's a long drag to the line. Is he going to get tagged here, Brian?
Well, it's looking like, is it Ricchesi in second place now? The sprint opens up just behind as Gaviria now comes.
Picks up, it is. He goes into the dip, and it's that cruel climb. Sam Bennett's on the barriers. Gaviria's got to be lonesome, and Quinn Simmons makes it happen. Oh, my goodness, what a finale. Ha! Well, we mentioned him earlier as a potential for a long shot. Not quite sure how much I believed it, but he had belief, and he's made it stick. He's denied the sprinters. What a finale. How's about that, Brian?
Yeah, it was a good move. Just waited. Did say it was going to happen in the last kilometre in this circuit. And Quinn Simmons went for it. Looked like Ricchesi just couldn't get onto the back wheel there. Another strong finish from Gaviria. So, yeah, an opportunist move. It worked. We were thinking it could be Ghana. Would Evenepoel be given his hand? But Quinn Simmons was rightly mentioned and delivers for Trek Segafredo.
Fabulous, fabulous finale. Quinn Simmons, we thank you.
I think he was going to do another lap.
Quinn Simmons turns back to take the plaudits. Well, out of everyone, we thought maybe Pitbull Ghana. We did say earlier in the show as well, Quinn Simmons is the kind of rider who's got a bit of a kick on him. And this will be a big statement by him going into tomorrow. And he's potentially not going to be denied on Friday either. He climbs well. He's got so much in the toolkit. And he emptied that today, Brian. That was brilliant.
It was. Feel a bit of a shame for Ricchesi, because Ricchesi could have sat back and waited, but he never. He knew that was a good move, very experienced rider, and went after. Quinn Simmons couldn't quite get onto the wheel and finish at a credible 7th, but that would have been a dream if he'd have got onto Simmons a little bit earlier and sprinted past him for that victory. That would have been a great ending to his career, but he just came up a little bit short against the youngster.
I love that. What a great winner, and what a great way to do it. He's getting the cuddles. Well, that's what they all needed. Aberystwyth finished 3rd yesterday. Trek are going to take the lead in the team competition here. Not that they'll be bothered about this. Here it is, Brian. How brave was this?
Yeah, but just look, Aberystwyth was sitting just behind Danny Van Poppel, but look at Ricchesi. He was trying. It was just that moment hesitation. He just couldn't quite get onto the flying American. Head down, but behind, the Bora team just kind of sat up. At this moment, you could see that, there was a reaction, but some of the lead-out riders were just out of sorts. Coming in here, 500 metres to go. Still a lot to do. At this stage, you would think it's now or never. Look behind from Ricchesi. Can he get on to terms with the young American? He came round the last corner, 300 metres to go, and it was a case of he was just too strong. Ricchesi comes up just a little bit short to that kind of dream stage win, but what an effort from Quinn Simmons. Delivered this stage win, but they were coming quickly from behind, still inside the last 200 metres, and Ricchesi was closing, but at the same time just giving 100% and dying the whole way to the finishing line. Just coming up the right hand side, hopefully coming into the picture, you'll see the sprint behind. Ricchesi does hold on to 2nd place, but they were coming quickly as the line beckons, and Quinn Simmons takes a victory, and a well-deserved victory for Trek Segafredo.
Well, there's a big cob of the earth has been dug out there as the kids on their skateboards and motocross bikes will do their tricks. But the man who had a bag full of that, full of magic, was Quinn Simmons today. That was a piece of class. We told you he was strong. We told you that there was a couple of riders out there that could produce a surprise. And one of them was Quinn Simmons. And he delivered.